Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be able to jump in here and just have this conversation with you guys today. So for all the ladies in the group, obviously we have men in the group as well. So I really just want to welcome the men to the conversation as well. And we're talking women of 2022. Where are we at? And what needs to change? What needs to change? I want to welcome all our new members because we've had quite a few new members come in. So just big warm welcome, like big wide open arms, giving you a big hug. And if this is the first training that you've popped into today, this is not your ordinary training today. We're more just having a conversation around this. And I really wanted to talk to you guys and hear from you. And I really wanted to know when International Women's Day came along, I went silent. Like all my colleagues, all my friends were like posting all of this stuff and getting together and having these, gatherings, and I just went silent. I went into hibernation, and I really felt like it kind of hit me, and I really kind of felt like I needed to just be quiet and go within for a day and reflect on, how far we've come as women to be where we're at today, but also what needs to change, like what is not working for us right now. And I think back to the movie Get Him to the Greek. Has anyone seen that? And he, out of snow, he gets to this musician, he gets to kind of this point in his life where it's not working for him anymore, and he, cut a long story short, falls off a building into a swimming pool, and there's just this scene where he looks up and he's like, this lifestyle is not working for me anymore. And I feel like that's where many of us are at right now, where we're kind of feeling like we've been through a lot, right? It's been 2 years of the COVID situation. We have a lot of different world events going on at the moment, and the anxiety and the stress and the overwhelm around just having to deal with everyday life as it stands, and not really feeling like we have the energy to move into where we'd really like to be. And then on top of that, everything else that's going on the planet right now. So I did a poll this week, and I asked you, I wanted to hear from you, and I wanted to hear, when you get to that point of overwhelm, what does it feel like to you? What does it relate to? What is, your trigger, or what is that, final tipping point for you when you get to that point? And so I really want to share that with you today. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts and your feelings on what needs to change this year for us as women to really be able to step up even more in our lives, right? As the powerful beings that we are. And at the end of this short little discussion training, we are going to meditate, and I have a beautiful meditation for you to just really go back within. And that's really what I needed to do on International Women's Day, because it just occurred to me that we're in a very interesting time right now where we have this beautiful ability to show up in our power, and there's so much that we can achieve and create and have impact on together as we do that. But it also occurred to me that there are so many of us that are feeling stuck, and that are feeling like, oh, I'd like to do all of that, Marissa, but when? Right? Like, there's so much going on for you. So I really wanted to get to the heart of that, and just to feel and know what is going on for you at that level. So I want to share with you what came out of the poll. And so the poll that we did in the group, the top two that came back from, your overwhelm and your anxiety, and when you get to that space, the first one was really just feeling like you have a to-do list that is a mile long. So go ahead and pop into the comments what it is for you. Maybe you did the poll, maybe you haven't done the poll yet. Maybe you DM'd me, maybe you you replied to a story when I asked you the question in my stories. Maybe you responded on email. I've been hearing from you and I'm listening. I am listening. And the first one that came up is just, I have a to-do list that is a mile long, and that is really overwhelming, right? And when there is so much going on the planet, and there's so much going on in the home or outside of the home or at work or whatever it is, and you get to that point of overwhelm and you're looking at your list and you're like, but I have all of this to do, when am I going to do it? That can really keep us stuck, right? Like we can stay stuck in this cycle of busyness. And so this is a really important one to notice if you're getting to that point where the anxiety hits and the overwhelm hits, and what you're really feeling is like, I just have way too much to do in my life. I have too much stuff to do to even be able to think about myself and my own self-care and my own dreams and my own, right? And then number 2 was dreams unfulfilled, which really made me just, it took me back, and I was just like, okay, so we're on track, right? With the trainings that are happening in the group, with everything that we are supporting you with inside the program, but we can do more. Like there is so much more support that we can give you. And so just knowing that a majority of you are feeling like your dreams are unfulfilled, like you don't even have the time to think about your dreams. And if that's you, pop it in the comments and let me know how that looks for you. Because like, do you dream about a different life like every single day? I know for me that's what it was like. Hey, how you going? Someone's just jumped on there and I'm trying to see who you are. I cannot see. Maybe just pop into the comments if you feel like having this little conversation with me, right? Let me know who's there, because I just can't see at the moment. Yeah, and so what does it look like for you when you feel like my dreams are unfulfilled and I don't have time to even think about them? How does it show up? Do you have like daily visions and hopes that just come to you? I know for me that's what it was like. Like I was living a life that I really wasn't aligned with, and I was having these like constant visuals come to me of like a better life, and like this dream life. What it felt like at the time was like a dream life, because it was so far away from where I was standing. But these are really important messages if you are getting this. And so what does it look like for you? Is it every day? Do you think of a better life? Is it just every week? Is it when you hit that point of overwhelm that you're like, damn it, something needs to change? So just tuning into that, like, is it a vision? And then what is that vision? If you get a visual every day, what is it? What does that life look like to you? And we're going to go more into this in the trainings to come, in weeks to come, because we're really going to start getting you so focused on your vision, getting your vision so clear that you start to take the steps, that you need to do. But first we need to know what the blocks are. Like what is happening when we're getting to this point of anxiety where we can't even move and we become immobilized and we don't do anything for ourselves, or maybe just tiny little things for ourselves, but not enough to give us the energy and to be able to stand in our personal power. So stick with me to the end, because I have a little meditation that we're going to do. The third one that came up in the poll was household chores and tasks, like just things that you have to feel like you have to do in a day. And I know that it can feel overwhelming to have, other people's needs come before your own, to have like this feeling like we need to show up and do so much in our life, and then we just don't have time for anything else. And so these being like the top 3 in the poll is really like, it's so helpful. So thank you so much for doing the poll and for messaging me. But it's really for you to know, okay, so this is where I'm at right now. And so what needs to change? And so this is the conversation that I really wanted to have, and that I really want to have, and we will be having in the trainings in weeks to come, is what needs to change. So when you look forward at 2022 and you look at all the women that you know, right? This is what I want to hear from you the most. When you look at all the women that you know and you see kind of which category they fall into, so like when they hit overwhelm, what is it about? Is it about like the home and having to do this and that and running errands and, you know, getting the school lunch boxes filled and, you know, showing up as a wife in your feminine on top of all of that kind of masculine, crazy busy stuff? So when you look outward and you see your women, like your circle of friends, your, you know, sisters and colleagues and mothers and, you know, all of this, daughters, what do you see as being the biggest shift that we need to make in 2022? So what needs to change? A couple of you came back and said self-care, like we need to take more time for ourselves. And a couple people came back and said, you know what, we need to honor the time in others. So like showing up, and I did a post that related a little bit to this on, I think it was Instagram a couple weeks ago. But just that, how do we show up for other women, right? Like, how do we support them in their own self-care, taking time for themselves? Are we still using the language like, oh, you're a super mom, like you get so much done, you're superwoman? Superwoman is great, right? Like we all want to be that, but can we be it with grace and ease and in this like beautiful calm state? And can we see that in other women when they find that, like when they're in this calm but productive and just, you know, all knowing in their power? Can we be like, you are superwoman? And not when they're showing up and just totally exhausting themselves and doing way too much, because this is the conditioned self, right? Like this is these conditioned parts of us showing up and trying to be good enough, and it is exhausting. Amen. Hands up if it's exhausting you to continually try to show up and get everything perfect and do everything in a day to meet the standards of that woman inside of you who's like, you need to be A, B, or C to be what? To be good enough. Like really, that's what's at the bottom of it. And so how are we, because this is the thing, like how are we now showing up to these other women, and what do you see in them that could shift, that could change, that needs to go, that needs to, like, we really need to just have a look at it closely and be like, they don't need that anymore, right? Like, and maybe it's that they are being really harsh on themselves, and maybe it's that society is telling them that they need to show up in this way still as well. It's kind of old news, isn't it? Like hands up if it's old news to you, that's like this push, right, for women to be better, do more, all of this stuff. Because I can tell you, I do more now than I've ever done in my life, and I'm calmer and more present than I've ever been in my life, and much of it is due to this work. And so how can we do that? How can we support other women to be that this year? And then what are the other changes? So go ahead and pop them in the comments, DM me, reach out to me, email me, there are so many ways to get in touch with me. And let me know, what do you think is the biggest change that you would like to see in our women of 2022? When you look around and you see the, you know, the heartbreak and the overwhelm and the sadness and the stress and the push and all of that, when you see that in all of your other women who you love dearly, what do you think is the biggest change that we need to make collectively this year so that we can all stand in our personal power, so we can all go to the next level, so that we can all do more with ease and with grace and with the calm and with this deep knowing that we're enough? Yeah, and I think that's the conversation. So I'm opening it up today. I want to hear from you. If you don't want to pop it in the comments, that's okay. If you want to DM me, I'm such an itchy nose right now. If you want to DM me, if you want to email me, please do. This is an important conversation to be had. I love you guys so much. Let's go into a little meditation. I might even pull a card for you right now. And yeah, let's just see where we're at and what needs to change. And then the trainings in the group are going to come from this. They're going to come out of this very important conversation that we're having. Ooh, I like this card. Hey. Yes, so good. Okay, so the card pulled for you guys today is so good. Birthing a new age. Birthing a new age. How awesome is that? And what I love the most, like obviously the stones have so many different symbolic meanings, and but what I love the most is that she is standing in the middle, and all I'm seeing is like all of us women and surrounding each other and supporting each other this year as we go to that next level. And so it says, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. How beautiful is that? And I really do believe like that we together have so much power and that we can do this, right? Like we can create a better world. With the inner work that we do, the work we do together, the way we show up with each other. How beautiful is that? So cool. Okay, so let us go into a little meditation. So just closing down your eyes, finding a comfortable position. I'm just going to get comfy. You might not be able to see me as well, but oh, hello. There's the phone. Okay, closing down your eyes, taking a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe it all out through your mouth. Taking deep breaths, so in through your nose and out through your mouth. This time taking a deep breath in through your nose, and then we're going to hold at the top. So as long a breath as you can take in. And then holding that breath at the top. Breathe out all your air. And just thinking about, so bringing to mind everything that you have done, been, shown up as to date in your life, from when you were a little girl all the way to today. And taking these deep breaths and holding at the top. And I want you just to tune in. So just tuning in to your breath, tuning in to you from when you were a tiny little girl all the way up until today. And just kind of run through your life and the emotions in your life. So what emotions you were showing up in as a 5-year-old, what emotions you were showing up in as a 12-year-old, as a 16-year-old, as a 21-year-old, as a 25-year-old, as a 30-year-old, stick with me if you're over 30, as a 35-year-old. What emotions, like generally speaking, what emotions were you showing up in? As a 40-year-old, as a 45-year-old, and now to today. What emotions are you generally showing up in your day today? Taking a deep breath in. Place your hands on your heart and see if you can feel your heartbeat. And the question is, what needs to change? What needs to change? And so maybe you've noticed a pattern. Maybe there's a pattern of emotion that's been flowing through your life. And maybe you've been feeling it for your whole life. Maybe you've been feeling it just for the last couple of years. Maybe it's new to you now. Maybe you're noticing a pattern that is occurring in every day, a way that you're feeling in everyday life. Taking a deep breath in, feel that beat of your heart. And I want you to, with every beat of your heart, remembering back to truly who you are at your core. You are a powerful, magnetic, incredible being who is really having a human experience. You're spiritual beings having human experiences. It's okay to feel these emotions, so okay those emotions that you've felt to date in your life and up until today. Taking a deep breath in. And now really asking this question, moving forward, as of now, what needs to change? What do I need to let go of? What holds, what ties to what actions and what behaviors need to be severed so that I can show up in my power? Because truly, you are so brilliant, so beautiful, so wonderful, so creative in so many ways. And you have the power to create your own life, to create your dream life, to create the days that you want to create, to show up in the emotions that you want to show up in. So what needs to go? And we're just going to hold an intention right now, is that we release what needs to go. So taking a deep breath in again. Breathe it all out. And imagining now this emotion, this behavior, this action, whatever it is, maybe it's a pattern for you that you'd like to let go of from a long time ago. Maybe it's something new. Imagining that it's coming in from the top of your head with a beautiful stream of white light. Imagine it moving down your body. So feeling in your body where you've felt it for all these years maybe. Feeling the tension, those areas of tension build up that were maybe holding this emotion in place. Because we hold our emotions, we hold our stress in our body. So we want this white light to move down through each area of the body and just noticing where this emotion has showed up in your body, where you feel it the most in your body, and maybe it just shows up as tightness or tension or a little niggle here and there. And then imagining as this emotion moves all the way down with this white light, all the way down your body. Feel it move through your torso, down each arm, into your hips and legs and feet, and just noticing if these emotions, this pattern has been sticking in your body anywhere. Taking a deep breath in, breathe it all out. And then imagine this emotion leaving your body. So imagining roots extending from the base of your spine all the way down to the bottoms of your feet and beyond, all the way down into the center of the earth. And imagining these emotions, these behaviors, these actions, just moving down those roots all the way into the center of the earth for recycling, to be transmuted, and to release and leave your body. And imagining them washing down, kind of like water washes down a drain, moving down these roots into the center of the earth. Take a deep breath in and really see it all leaving now with your breath out. Taking a deep breath in, hands on your heart once more, and just asking yourself now, okay, so with what needs to change, we have released those patterns, we're releasing those old behaviors and actions. So now what needs to be brought in? What needs to be brought in for you in 2022? So taking a deep breath into that and just seeing what comes up for you. You know, maybe it's more time for yourself. Maybe it's a little more loosening of those reins. Maybe it's throwing out that to-do list and doing 3 things every day that are important. That's it. Taking a big deep breath. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's coming back to your heart space and coming back to you, who you truly are at your core, and remembering your power. So whatever it is for you, just breathing that in now. So with each breath in, breathing in more and more of that, breathing in more and more of what you need. And with each breath out, seeing anything else that needs to be released, going down those roots and into the center of the earth. Deep breath in. Breathing into the new and breathing out the old. And knowing you can come back to this place at any time, feeling that heartbeat one last time, knowing you can come back here at any time, just feeling the beat of your heart or hearing the beat of your heart is helping your heart rate and blood pressure to come down, to balance out, to sync your heart and your brain. We're going to do so much more on this in the trainings to come. One last deep breath in, holding at the top, and breathe it all out. You might shake out your hands and wiggle your toes, come back into the space. And so I invite you to be part of this conversation. DM me, email me, find me in stories, find me on Instagram, find me anywhere. Comment below here and let me know what came up for you in that. What needs to change, what needs to go, what needs to be released in you, in me, in women as a whole for 2022. And what can we do? Like, what needs to be brought in? What needs to happen? What really do we need to start taking on more of this year? Let me know. Hey, Catherine, how are you? So happy to see you. Yeah, and so if you're just jumping on now, it's worth going back and watching this from the beginning because these questions are so important for us moving forward this year and for all that we're going to be able to achieve and create in 2022. And also it's so helpful to me. Thank you so much, because now I know where to show up in my trainings even more for you and what you need support with for this year. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing day, and I'm going to see you back in the group soon. And I just can't wait to hear from you about with all of these questions and about all of this and, you know, what's coming up for you and what answers can you bring to the table. Love you. Bye.